Greetings out there in YouTube land. This is Morris Man. As always, I thank you guys for coming to my channel. Today I'm going to do another video because yesterday I did an interesting video on my drum machines, and I appreciate you guys chiming in and appreciating the video. So I'm kind of in this drum machine mode thing, so I'm going to post another video. And this is my thoughts and review on the EMU Procussion. But before I get into that, I thought I would mention some things that are interesting that I didn't mention in the videos yesterday, like here with the Alesis HR16B. What's interesting about this drum machine is, remember the Seinfeld thing, da 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 da, and it had that popping sound. This is actually done on this drum machine here, the Alesis HR16B. Also, Teddy Riley's Song that he penned on Bobby Brown, My Prerogative, done on this. This was an awesome drum machine back in the day, and to this day I still use it for some of my tracks. I just don't use the sounds. I trigger external sounds via MIDI. But the reason why I've been sticking with this drum machine for 20 plus years, actually much more longer than that, just the programmability. You can get whatever you want. Quantization wise, it's really, the format is real laid out, user friendly. It's not a hard struggle to get through this drum machine. So that's why I have such high praise for it. And something that I didn't mention about the Roland R5. I've had many drum machines. I've played or programmed many drum machines. There's not one drum machine that has the most realistic hi-hats than the Roland R5 and R8. I mean, to me, my hi-hats have to be real crisp. They can't be dirty in a good sense, or should I say in the bad sense. They can't be muddy. I love the sound of the hi-hat, and the R5 just really brings it, because like I told you, I can't think of any drum machine. I've had many of them, all the ones I got. None of the hi-hats come close to what's in here. And another thing about this drum machine, because, and this is not just pertaining to music, unfortunately, you got more back then than you get now. You go to the fast food place, like, man, this costs like $10, and years ago it was only $5, and I even got more. And I understand things, constantly go up, prices go up, but the quality should go up as much as the price, because one thing about this drum machine versus the newer ones, because again, I told you yesterday, the new drum machines are geared towards hip-hop dudes that don't play instruments, and this is not a negative statement, so please don't take it that way. I got to explain that, because you got some people that want to take what you say out of content, and this is what he talking about. No, I'm not. But it's geared towards non-musicians who have the ability to create beats. They sample stuff off vinyl, then they play their bass line in here, and their whole composition is on the drum machine, as opposed to the drum that's just holding down the rhythm. I got a guitar player, I got a bass player, I got a keyboard player, I got a singer, blah, blah, blah. And that's what the drum machines of today are geared towards. They're not geared towards the musicians who just want to hold down a groove and play over a groove with multi-instrumentation. And it's unfortunate, because it should be like this. Okay, we got a portion of music equipment for you guys that want to make beats, and then we got the drum machines for the traditional guys that can play, just want to hold down a rhythm, with some rhythms, and that's it. They don't want bass lines in their drum machine because they don't need it. They got a bass player, but unfortunately, it's not like that. It's just kind of more like, this is where we going, and this old traditional way, forget those guys. But back then, you got more for your money. And a good example of that is the majority of drum machines from that era, if you could see this, they got what's called multiple outs. And the purpose of that, and the reason why that is important, because I think this one got about 7, about 6 or 7. Reason why that's important: when you go into the studio, whether you are tracking live drums or drum machines, you want to be able to separate your drums. Now, for you young guys, like, what are you talking about? You want to record your kick drum on one track. You want to record your snare on another track, and your other stuff, if you can, on separate tracks. Reason being, for those who don't know, separation as far as frequency, separation because of most definitely effects. Because you're not gonna put nothing on your kick other than probably some compression, maybe a little room or a little room reverb, but rarely you ever put, unless you're trying to do something kind of unique. You don't want nothing on your kick but compression. You're always going to treat your snare with either a little reverb or something, to kind of give it the ambiance. But if they're on the same track, you can't do that. Or if you do that, you're going to have reverb on your kick and reverb on your snare. And you don't want that. So with these old drum machines, you had the luxury of separating it into the mixing board. You can separate each hit, each drum sound. With the new drum machines, and I didn't bring one in here, you only get stereo outs. That's it. So everything has to be on basically 2 tracks. So it's unfortunate because that really kind of hinders the professional recording process. It was something else I wanted to mention regarding that, but maybe they come back to me. But getting to the product review at hand. Actually it's not the Ensoniq, it's the EMU Procussion. I remember when this first came out. And I remember this, and this might be why it is what it is. If you didn't find me at work and you didn't find me at home, you could find me at Guitar Center. If I went in one of those 2 places, I'm going to be at Guitar Center. I used to enjoy waiting because I used to subscribe to this magazine. I don't know if it's still in publication. It's called Keyboard Magazine. And they would have advertisements of the new product that's coming out or already just came out. So, when I read the write-up on this, I was quite excited because when these drum machines came out, you got maybe about 60 drum sounds in here, which was cool. When the EMU Procussion came out, 1,000. I'm like, whoa, 1,000? Hey, where can I buy this? So when it came out, grabbed it. And also this has multi-outs too, separation. Because I'm a big percussion freak. I love drums. And because I think drums are extremely important in your track. I think in some cases they're the most important thing other than the vocalist. So when this first came out, I was just blown away because I'm like, man, I got 1,000 percussion styles to mess with now. And I remember I wrote this track. It was called A Cry for Love. Actually, I co-wrote it. I wrote the music. And when I marketed that song, me and the co-writer, I used this machine. And at that time, it was a skeleton track. It was just bass and drums and vocals. I hadn't added the piano parts yet. So I let this band who was shopping, they look for shopping for more material because they're about to put out a demo, try to get a record deal. We let them hear the skeleton track, and they stopped in the middle and said, we'll take it. And the guy said, what convinced me was that snare in there. And then the snare came out of here. A lot of great percussion sounds in this thing. And what was so exciting about that era was the stuff that came out was totally new from the stuff that had already been out. And I said to myself, at some point in time, it's going to run its course and there's not going to really be any more new stuff to unveil. And, I think that statement has come to pass because I can't think of any new drum machines that have come on the market that has blown me away or haven't been there, done that already. Because now you got these computer-based controllers for rhythm. And I tend to shy away from that. And not because I'm an older guy. It's like, I really don't want to hand over the creativity that comes from a human to machines. Everything that's done on machines, if you mess up, you can cut and paste it, as opposed to back in the 60s. If you fucked up, you redid it. The whole thing, not just a little snippet of it. If you messed up in the middle, you started from the beginning and played all the way through. Instead of this cutting and pasting nonsense. But that's just my opinion. And I'm sure that the young folks don't share that opinion because they didn't come from that era where if you fucked up, you did it over. Instead, we can fix it in the mix. Let's keep going. But I tend to try to stay away from that because I'm like, that doesn't make you a better musician. It tends to hinder you from being a better musician. The best thing to get you to become a better musician is keep playing, keep playing, keep practicing, keep practicing, keep playing, so on and so forth. So, I really don't want to get totally wrapped up into that computer thing. It has its place and I do use it sparingly, but it's not going to help me become a better musician if something else does it for me, you know. So as far as the stuff that was coming out then, it was new and fresh and stuff. Now it's just kind of recycled stuff of the old stuff. Because Roland rolled out the TR-09 or something like that, which is kind of the new version of the 909. It's like been there, done that. It's just the old concept wrapped up in a new package. And it's like, ain't nothing new about this except for the bigger price tag. So I'm glad I experienced the newness of new gear. Every year when something else came out, it was new and it was different from the stuff that was out last year, the year before. Because again, I can't think of any drum machines now that I was like, man, new drum machine, new drum sounds, except again for the computer controller thing that triggers drum sounds from your computer. The last thing I want to do is when I work on music is turn on my computer and start working on music on my computer. I want to go grab my guitar or turn on my piano, hook up my drum machine and get the going, because I'm working now with a workstation that I love. Because for the last several months, and sorry for me veering away from this, the last several months I've been looking for my sound again, looking for my setup, what's comfortable for me, what will work for me as far as going in there and cranking out several songs a week, as opposed to I'm struggling with this. I'm still on the technical side, and I haven't even gotten to the musical side because I'm still struggling with the technical side. So I'm like, I want to eliminate that because I want to go straight to the music side and play instead of, I got to go ahead and MIDI this up again. Oops, I turned it off and it defaulted back to this and it's triggering this. I don't want to go through all that. But I know sometimes you have to, So I'm very appreciative of the era that I grew up in because I've experienced so much good musical stuff. Seeing all this historical stuff now and famous stuff come out when it first came out, But getting back to the percussion, this thing got like over 1,000 sounds. I still use this in conjunction with my Lisa's HR-16 for some tracks because some really nice stuff on here. And not only that, you can modify and create your own sounds. But I'm like, I got 1,000 sounds to play with. I don't have to do nothing but just select some of these. But you got some people that, they like tweaking and techie and I'm going to take this snare and I'm going to stack it on top of this one to get this unique sound. That's cool because that's what most guys do in the recording industry as far as releasing recordings. Because you say to yourself, why don't my drums sound like the drums on the record? That's because they've customized those drums. Why don't my sound patches sound like the ones on the record? Because they've customized it. All the stuff that you hear from Jam and Lewis, it ain't something that's straight out of a module and they just turn it on and trim and MIDI it up and play it. They stack. They do MIDI stacks and all that type of stuff. But there are some new product on the market where you can get that sound, radio record sound right out the box. And one of them is the Street Zone Street Box. All those sounds you hear in records. They've already did the work for you, compressed them, got them dirty, give them that street sound and feel. And the only thing you just got to do is trigger it or play it or program it. Same thing with, and this is probably the only module I can say for this or about this, and I got a ton of modules. I'm looking at a bunch of them right here, right now, off to the side. The only one, and I've been through a lot of modules like drum machines, the only sound module that I can say that have the sounds that straight out the box sounds like the stuff off the record, because the guys that programmed this module are the guys to do that kind of stuff for the record. And it's what is that? The EMU Proteus 1000 and 2000. If you can, grab the 2000 because it's 128 voice polyphony. And basically what that means is, because I'm not a techie guy, because the Proteus 1000 is 64 voice. When you're doing multi-timbre, meaning that you're playing all the instrument tracks off one unit at the same time. Track 1, you got a bass sound from that unit. Track 2, you got a piano sound from that unit. Track 3, you got some drum sounds from that unit. It has a fullness to the overall multi-timbre recording as opposed to if you had a 60-volt voice, the all the instrumentation are thin, because the more sounds you play at the same time, the thinner the sounds overall become. But it's the only module that has ever been at this point released that has 128, if I'm not mistaken, and it sounds full. You know, the bass sound like you pulling it from a separate module. The piano sounds full, sound like you pulling it from a separate module. You know, so that's the only module I know that has the sounds that you would hear off the radio. You know, they got a lot of stuff that you can hear right off the radio out of that module. But I'm gonna wrap this one up. But again, Proteus, you can grab these now for like $120 off of eBay. You can grab the Proteus 2000 like for $150, $200, which is worth it off of eBay. These are dynamite products. Again, to this day, I still use this thing. I love it. You got a whole bunch of sounds, flexibility. Till next time, take care. Thanks for watching.